Okay, let's start. Okay. We had two lectures on inverters that were taken, and we had discussed on half bridge VSI, the voltage source inverter on R and RL load, and full bridge VSI on R and RL load. And we performed Fourier analysis on the output waveform because there was many harmonics, and we calculated those values. Did some problems and also studied some performance parameters of your inverter. So keeping that in mind, some of the problems which we had discussed um, in our VSI, half bridge and full bridge, was that the most important problem was a shoot through fault or conduction fault. That is, my outgoing thyristor, means the thyristor or the switch that was going off, and the thyristor that was coming into on state, that was happening at the same time. But in practical cases, what happens if that time when one switch goes off and the other switch goes on becomes different, means it doesn't occur instantaneously, it will take some time of microseconds. So in that small microseconds, both switches of the same leg will be on and it will short circuit the voltage source. So that was a very important problem that we had faced in VSI, that were directly connected to the DC source and given pulse width pi, means it was on for the whole positive half cycle, and then again it was on, the other switches were on for
স্যার
the
আপনি কি কোনো পেজ শেয়ার করেছেন
শেয়ার তো করা আছে, দেখাচ্ছে না স্লাইড?
মানে
দেখা
ইনভার্টার
যাচ্ছে। আর ফার্স্ট পেজটা দেখা যাচ্ছে।
হ্যাঁ, ফার্স্ট পেজটা,
ফার্স্ট
তারপর
পেজটা
আমি
দেখা
কিছু
যাচ্ছে।
বলিনি। হ্যাঁ, হ্যাঁ, তারপর আমি
ও
কিছু
আচ্ছা।
বলিনি, জাস্ট আগের দিনের পড়াটা একটা জিনিস বলে রাখছি, ওইটাই। ঠিক আছে? হুম, তাহলে ওই যে প্রবলেমটা হচ্ছিল শুট থ্রু ফল্ট অর শুট থ্রু ফল্ট, that was because of one switch was turning off at the same instant and the other switch was turning on at the same instant. If that doesn't occur instantaneously, then both switches of the same leg will be turned on at the same time and it will short circuit the source. এগুলো এই ডিসকাশনটা we had done in uh, last two lectures also, what was the problem that was facing. Now what we'll do is, now we'll study PWM inverters. We have to eliminate that fault which is called as a shoot through fault, and also try to eliminate the dominant harmonics, which is the lower order harmonics. We need to eliminate that. So using PWM inverter, we can do bring all the advantages that was a disadvantage for VSI. Okay, we can convert all the disadvantages of VSI into advantages when we are using PWM inverter. Now, before going into PWM inverter, you have heard about the term PWM, pulse width modulation. We have taken this term in describing chopper circuits also. Now, in PWM is basically a method to control your output voltage. Okay, how you are controlling your output voltage? You are controlling the on and off of the switch which is present in the inverter. So if you are controlling the on and off of the switch of the inverter, the output voltage also gets controlled. So this control of the switch is called as internal control of the inverter, because the switches are required in the inverter circuit and we are controlling that only on and off. So we are controlling it internal control. There are many other controls like external control. We will not discuss about that. That is out of the scope of the syllabus. You can go through the books. What are the external controls are there? External controls means you are using external circuits in order to control the output voltage. Okay, so that is what external control means. Internal control means within the inverter only I am somehow controlling the on and off of the switch and trying to bring in the decrease the harmonics or remove the shoot through fault over here. So that is why PWM method of control is called as internal control of inverter. That's why my first line that is written in red is internal control of inverters. All this point that is told to you is discussed over here. Here what happens, a fixed DC voltage is given to an inverter, you know, In an inverter, input is DC, output is AC, and that is controlled because we are adjusting the on and off by using what control? PWM control. Okay, so since all this control is inside the inverter, it is called inverter control. Now, what are the advantages of PWM control? Now, one of the two advantages I told you just now, we can eliminate the harmonics. We can obviously go away with the shoot through fault. Using this PWM method, there is no need to take care of the shoot through fault. We'll adjust the on and off of the switch in such a way that the switch that goes off and the switch that comes into on state doesn't occur simultaneously. The point at which the switch goes off and the other switch comes into on state, that point doesn't come instantaneously. Okay, it will have some time delay. So using PWM, we will do that. So that too is an advantage of this. Then what we are doing, we can control the output voltage. Previously, what we had seen, if you recall the fact, or okay, you just recall it. Next slide we can see, I think so. If you recall the fact, in half bridge VSI and full bridge VSI, the output voltage, I'm just drawing it over here. The output voltage was like this, complete square, right? 0 to pi. This is 2 pi. Now using PWM, what we'll get a waveform like this. Pi is over here and negative waveform like this. 2 pi is over here. So we can complete and over here, since it was a symmetrical square wave, our value was coming out to be magnitude of this, right? VDC. If it was VS, then it for full bridge it was coming out to VS average and RMS. But over now you have a gap over here, so you have to calculate that average and RMS value. It will dependent upon how much gap is present over here. Okay, and the pulse width, how much you are taking. So now your voltage is controllable. So that's why my first point, another advantage of PWM control is output voltage is controlled. So you see, all power electronic circuits what we are studying is basically needed for controlling of output voltage, because if your output voltage is constant, there is no need. Means what I will do after this, output voltage constant fed to an induction motor, I can't do speed control. If my output voltage is variable, then only my speed control can be done. So there is no use of getting a fixed voltage. It is always to get a variable voltage, and that is why power electronics comes into application. Harmonics can be eliminated. We'll see how harmonics can be eliminated. And besides this, while doing PWM control, there is one disadvantage, but that is one side of advantage also. Your SCRs are a little bit expensive because they have low turn on and off time. Just now I have drawn over here. So it was on not for the whole period. It will be on only during this period. Due to lower turn on and off, the SCRs become little bit expensive. Okay. So mainly we'll deal with the advantages only, because it will eliminate the most important thing, the harmonics and shoot through fault. And overall, we can bring a control over the output voltage. Now, what is PWM? We have discussed. What is the advantage of PWM? We have discussed, and now we will apply this PWM technique in inverter. Okay, so that's why now instead of writing VSI, voltage source inverters, I'll classify the same inverter as PWM inverter. Okay. So what happens in PWM inverter? Okay, yeah, in PWM technique, what we are having in the output, okay, or the pulses that are generated, that is given to the switches, will have constant amplitude, and the width of the pulses are modulated to obtain the output voltage, inverter output voltage. That is what I am saying to you is, this was my output voltage which I was getting. Now I can modulate this output voltage and bring it like this, right? I can make it small or I can make it larger. Okay, so we can modulate this output voltage, but the amplitude, this value, if suppose 1, this amplitude will also be 1. So we have one max amplitude to be constant in all the 3 waves, but the pulse width can be modulated. Okay, and if the pulse width is modulated, that is how you reduce your harmonic content. This is, I'll discuss in derivation. Please just now remember that if the pulse width is changed, your harmonic contents are reduced. So how we'll do, we'll discuss it later. Now, the three important types of inverters, okay, PWM inverters, or the three important types of PWM modulation techniques we used are single pulse modulation number 1, multiple pulse modulation number 2, and sinusoidal pulse modulation. We'll discuss this in detail, very important. Okay. And obviously, since the supply is DC, force commutation will be required. I told you what is force commutation. In AC, we have a positive and negative voltage. Positive voltage, SCR will be forward bias. Negative voltage, automatically SCR will be reverse bias. So automatically off. But in case of DC, your voltage is always positive. So SCR cannot be off. You have to use external circuits in order to bring the current through the SCR below the holding current, and then only SCR will be off. Those circuits are called as force commutation circuit. This is in the first module. Ma'am will take this. I'm just telling you what is force commutation. Okay, and why is this chosen? Why, which technique is to be chosen depends upon how much harmonic content you need in your output voltage. If you, it means if I am wanting lower order harmonics, if there are lower order harmonics to be in the output voltage, okay, then you can prefer single pulse modulation. Or if a higher order harmonics are present, then multiple pulse width modulation are used. Sinusoidal pulse width modulation, we'll discuss it, why it is used, and what is the utility advantage over single and multiple pulse in later slides. So basically, why we choose a modulation technique is how much one modulation technique can eliminate the harmonics. Depending upon that, a modulation technique is chosen. So first one is your single pulse modulation. Now, if you look at figure 1, you can see the first figure which we have drawn over here is the output of a full bridge VSI. Okay, it had positive voltage over here, then negative part like this. Is the output of a full bridge VSI without any PWM control over here. Okay, now this way output waveform has a problem. I told you just now. See, the outgoing switch, the switch that was giving positive voltage and the switch that is giving negative voltage, this part, this is on at the same time. If suppose this switch becomes on for some more period over here and the other switch turns on at this period, so during this period over here, both the switches is turned on and it will short circuit the leg of the it will short circuit the source. So ideally we take that when the switch is, this switch is going off, this switch is turned on. So see, same instant, this is ideal case, but this doesn't happen instantaneously. There is some delay time because you are using forced commutation. That circuit will take some time in order to make that current to the switch below holding current. So this will not turn off at pi, and this has turned on at pi, but this will not turn off at pi. It will turn off somewhat after pi. So during this period, there will be a huge current flowing through the circuit. So that's why we are going for pulse width modulation. Now, what is happening in pulse width modulation? We are modulating the switches on and off. Now, how we are getting this? We want this waveform only. First half cycle we have positive, and second half cycle we are negative. So we are drawing the waveform in the second case like this. We are not taking the full cycle. We are taking a pulse width modulated waveform. So it is starting from some point over here, then it is having a square pulse, then it is having another square pulse after some period of pi. So you see, if this is for switch 1, if this is going off at this time, obviously if this is going off at this time, after that this is 0, and switch 2 is going on at this time, right? There is a sufficient gap between turning on off switch 1 and switch 2. So there is no problem now of that source being short circuited because of the two switches being turned on of the same leg. So the problem gets eliminated. The first problem which we had done has got eliminated. That shoot through fault or cross conduction fault is eliminated. Next we have to see how the harmonics are eliminated. How this harmonics are eliminated.
স্যার মাঝে কিছুটা গ্যাপ থাকলে তো সেখানে কোনো ভোল্টেজ পাবো না।
কোনখানে? হ্যাঁ বলো আরেকবার।
এই মানে টু এই যে আপার আর লোয়ার পালসের মাঝখানে যদি ওই যে গ্যাপ থাকে,
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
তাহলে তো ওইখানটা কোনো ভোল্টেজ পাবো না, আউটপুট তো জিরো থাকবে।
হ্যাঁ আউটপুট জিরো থাকবে, কিন্তু এই এরকম সাইন ওয়েভটা এরকমই আসছে, মানে পজিটিভ নেগেটিভ এসি আসছে,
আচ্ছা,
এসি আসছে, ঠিক আছে। এই widthটাকে বাড়ানো যায়, how much you want to carry out your width will be it, ঠিক আছে। মানে we have to get a sine wave, taking into fact that we will not have the harmonics and we will not have that cross conduction or shoot through fault. So we have to vary this pulse width. Instead of taking it full on up to this, মানে pi থেকে কিছু কম on করব, pi before pi it will be turned off and after some pi it will be turned on. So sufficient gap,
হ্যাঁ এটা তো মিলি সেকেন্ড মাইক্রো সেকেন্ডের।
sufficient gap will be there. আচ্ছা একটা সার্কিট পরে করা আছে, এটা এই সুইচ দুটো যদি একসাথে অন হয়ে যায়, if this switch is on then this source will be short না, ডাইরেক্ট সোর্স শর্ট হয়ে যাবে, তাহলে ওইটা প্রিভেন্ট করার জন্য ওইটা করা হয়েছে। দেখো what is my main idea behind this? There should be a pulse whose width is 2D. Okay, we have taken 2D because for calculation এর জন্য it will be beneficial. You can take D and calculate, no problem also. So pulse width is taken 2D and you can see the above waveform, they are symmetrically spaced square wave, right? So this 2D pulse should also be symmetrically spaced. We should generate a PWM in such a way that the output voltage also is a symmetrically spaced square wave of length 2D. So how will you create a symmetrically spaced square wave? So this square wave should be such that the center will be pi by 2, right? This is total is pi, half will be pi by 2, and in order to make this 2D symmetrical about this, so obviously it should be placed such a way that pi by 2 is the center. Okay, and over here another, it should be 3 pi by 2, huh? It should be 3 pi by 2 over here. So another over here will be 3 pi by 2 center and 2D over here. So now since it is symmetrical wave, this pi by 2 cuts this 2D into 2 equal halves. So before this pi by 2, from this point to this point up to pi by 2, the gap is D, and from this pi by 2 point to last point of this will be D. So I can say this edge over here, this edge over here is pi by 2 minus D, because this small portion is D over here. Pi by 2 is separating this into 2 equal halves, and this portion over here is pi by 2 plus D. Okay, so pulse width variation is just now I've told 0 less than 2 by T less than pi. So if this is 0 to pi over here, my pulse width should be like this. It can be close to pi, no, but not equal to pi. Otherwise, if it is equal to pi, then this waveform only comes out. So it will be less than pi and it will be greater than 0. So small gap should be present. And what is this 2D? We'll calculate it later. Means in the next slide only we'll calculate. So what we have to do, again we have to do Fourier analysis. Like we had done Fourier analysis of this waveform, we'll do Fourier analysis over here. So as we had done Fourier analysis, and since it is a even quasi wave symmetry, square wave symmetry, so an will be 0. So we calculated our bn. So bn is 2 by pi, and if you check the waveform over here, from where it is starting, pi by 2 minus d to pi by 2 plus d. Okay, so the limits are pi by 2 minus d to pi by 2 plus d. What is my maximum value over here? Vs. So Vs and bn is which function? Sine function. So sine n omega t. This integration you do it, put your limits, you will get 4 Vs by n pi sine n pi by 2 sine n d. Then what we did, if you recall your facts, then we calculated Cn was equal to root over an square plus bn square. Right, since an is 0, so Cn will be equal to bn only. So Cn is equal to bn, and since we are writing the function and the output is a sine wave, so This will be your Cn value and into sine omega t. This we had already done while discussing your VSIs. So this will be in odd, n equal to odd. All these functions will exist in n equal to odd, 1, 3, 5. Now, if you expand this, you just look into the equation once. I'm just if you look into the expansion, what we had done, so 4 Vs by pi taken common, we have substituted 1, 3, 5 like this. 1 is your fundamental component, 3, 5, 7, 9 are your harmonics component. So if you substitute 1, so it will be 4 Vs by pi taken common, so n is 1. So I have not written anything over here. Sine pi by 2 is 1, sine d, sine omega t. Next is 4 Vs by pi already taken common, so 1 by 3 written over here. Sine 3 pi by 2 is -1, so -1. Sine 3d, sine 3 omega t, sine 3d, sine omega. Like this you have expanded. So from here, what is important is that again we have to, they will tell you to calculate what is the maximum value of your fundamental component. Okay, suppose if 2d is equal to pi, the 2d maximum value can be pi, as you can see over here, maximum value, but it should not be taken in order to eliminate the shoot through fault. So 2d maximum value can be pi. So you can calculate your d. So d is equal to pi by 2. Substitute it over here. Sine pi by 2 is 1. So 4 Vs by pi is nothing but your maximum value of V1m. If you write V1 function, what you will write? 4 Vs by pi sine d sine omega t. So this is actually Vm sine omega t. So what is Vm? 4 Vs by pi sine d. And just now we had calculated d is equal to pi by 2. So sine pi by 2 equal to 1. So 4 Vs by pi. So that's why this is a formula when 2d equal to pi. If you write it general, this will be your formula. V01m is equal to 4 Vs by pi sine d. If 2d is not equal to pi, it can be any other value. Obviously, it is any other value. So you should remember this formula, very important. Okay. And if you are told to find out the RMS value, what you will do? Divided by √2. So maximum value divided by √2 gives you RMS value. So this formulas you have to remember, because this can come as MCQ or solving problems. So these two formulas, or you don't have to remember this. Remember this only. Okay, and RMS value will be divided by √2. Now, first advantage we first desire means first what I will tell. What I was telling as advantage that we have to remove the shoot through fault over here, or cross conduction fault, that was removed because we are turning off this switch before pi and turning on this switch after pi. We are giving some time interval between turn on and turn off. So first one advantage is proved. Next advantage we have to show is how the harmonics are eliminated. Now the harmonics are eliminated according to how you choose your pulse width. That is, suppose your ND is equal to pi. Okay. So from here you can say D is equal to pi by n, and so the pulse width is 2D is equal to 2 pi by n. Why I am coming to this, I'll show in the equation. Okay, you can see in this equation, we'll come to it. So if you want to eliminate third order harmonics, okay, what you should place, 2D is equal to 2 pi by 3, that is 120 degree. Now why I have to place this? Why 2D is equal to 2 pi by n? Why it should follow this? Now if you go to the previous formula over here, so what is the magnitude of this third harmonic? So 4 Vs by 3 pi, if I take the magnitude or direct values with sign, so can I say 4 Vs by 3 pi into sine 3d is the magnitude of the third harmonic? There will be a minus sign. So please understand, 4 Vs by 3 into sine 3d. This is my maximum value. So Vm sine 3 omega t. So this is my function, sine function. So that's why I've written, that's why I've written over here minus 4 Vs by 3 pi sine 3d, right? Sine 3d. Now what should be the value of d in order to make this V3m 0? If V3m is 0, then V3m sine 3 omega t will also be 0. Then only there will be no effect of this third harmonic. So this should be value 60, right? Because sine pi is how much? 0. So sine 3 into 60 is equal to sine 180. So sine 180 is 0. So V naught 3m is equal to 0. So how you will choose this 60 value? By substituting 2d is equal to 2 pi by n. Now if you want to eliminate fifth order harmonic, so it will be 2 pi by 5. Okay, generally lower order harmonics have magnitude greater. You had already seen in problems that if I find E1, then third harmonic will be E1 by 3. Then fifth harmonic will be E1 by 5. As we go to higher order harmonics, its magnitude automatically gets reduced. So practically what we have to do is reduce our lower order harmonics. Okay, so in order to reduce our harmonics of third, so 2d is equal to 2 pi by 3, that is 120 degree. That means this pulse width over here, should be 120 degree and not 180 degree. So we can eliminate our third harmonic, and all other harmonics we have to eliminate by using filters. Okay, we can eliminate only one harmonic because we have a factor of choosing only your pulse width. So we can eliminate the harmonic that is affecting most on our output voltage. So we'll eliminate that harmonic, and then we can eliminate all other harmonics by using filter. So it is this is how we are eliminating the harmonics. And then all the formulas are written in terms of n. You can go through this. V naught m will be 4 Vs by n pi sine nd. The RMS value will be Vs by 2d, Vs into 2d by pi to the power half. You can go through all this. Okay. Half cycle 1 by pi. If you take full cycle, it will be 0. So you have to take half cycle and find out the RMS value. That's why in the denominator it is coming pi over here. Pulse width is 2d, so 2d will be in the numerator. If you integrate it, its limit will be 0 to 2d only. So that's why this value is coming. This is I'm leaving up to you because you know how to calculate your average and RMS values. Now what we'll do, we'll go to multiple pulse width modulation. Okay, now same as your single pulse width modulation. Okay, now over here we had single pulse per half cycle, but according to the name only you can understand multiple pulse. There will be multiple pulse per half cycle. So I have taken a basic example of 2 pulse per half cycle. So there are 2 pulse per half cycle. With this 2d only, we are maintaining the pulse with 2d only. So if you are having pulse of 2 pulses, then 2d will be divided into 2 parts. One is d, one is d. All are symmetrically placed. All are symmetrically placed. 2d. If there are 3 pulses, then 2d divided by 3. There will be 3 pulses like this, each of with 2d by 3. Each of with 2d by 3. Okay, so if you multiply 2d by 3 into 3, you will get 2d only. Pulse width total will be 2d always. Okay. So this is how your multiple pulse width modulation is done. All having same amplitudes. Again, you see amplitude is Vs. This is minus Vs. Bolo. Well. Hello. Hello. Achha. Symmetrical 2 pulse modulation. You can have.
gamma plus d by 2.
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ রাস্ট এবার কি হয়েছে আগেরটা the last one was placed symmetrically around pi by 2 because it was only one pulse, right? Now you can't place this symmetrically around pi by 2 if number of pulses goes on increasing. Okay, so we have taken another function over here, gamma. Okay, so around this gamma, this waveform is symmetrically placed. Now the center of this is gamma. So it will divide this part into d by 2 and this part again d by 2. So this point will be gamma minus d by 2 and this point will be gamma minus d by 2. So now our limits will be from gamma minus d by 2 to gamma plus d by 2. That is what is the change over here. Okay, rest all are same. So the limits are changing, gamma minus d by 2 to gamma plus d by 2. Magnitude is Vs, Vn is a sine function, so sine n omega t. Now how many pulses are there in per half cycle? 2, right? So I have multiplied with 2. I have found a general equation for this, and then you can modify it according to if the pulses increases. Now 8 Vs, it will, if you do the integration, you will find out 8 Vs by n pi sine nd by 2 sine n gamma. Then this is Bn, you can find out Cn, Cn equal to root over An square plus Bn square. Since An is 0, Cn will be Bn, and B naught is equal to summation all odd numbers Cn sine omega t. So Cn is Bn written over here. Again, you expand it. I'm not going into detail of this expansion. Okay, I'll just go through it once. N will be 1, 8 Vs by pi taken common, n1, so there is no function of n over here. Sine nd by 2, so sine d by 2 sine gamma, sine d by 2 sine gamma, right? Then sine omega t. Then next function 1 by n, so 1 by 3 sine 3 gamma, sine n gamma, sine nd by 2, so sine 3d by 2. This is how the function is written. Then you can find out this harmonic. Now, the most important thing, again, you can see cross conduction fault is eliminated over here, because this switch is turned off at this point and this switch is turned on at this point. There is a sufficient time gap over here. So first advantage of this. Next advantage is how to eliminate your harmonics. Now, in order to eliminate your harmonics, you have to make that magnitude of that harmonic 0. So suppose let us take this magnitude, right? 8 Vs by n pi. If I write this value for you, 8 Vs by 3 pi sine 3 gamma sine 3d by 2. Okay, so in order to make this magnitude 0, I can substitute this as 0, right? So sine 0, okay, I'll not take the first value, sine pi only I'll take, because in multiples of pi sine is 0. So equal to sine 3 gamma is equal to sine n pi, or I'll not write n pi, sine pi, because n will be confused over here, equal to sine pi. So I can write 3 gamma is equal to pi. You can understand like last calculation only. So gamma, what will be gamma over here is equal to pi by n, right? So pi by n means in case you are eliminating the third harmonic, so pi by 3, that is 180 by 3, that is 60 degree. So gamma should be 60 degree if you are eliminating the third harmonic. So that's why to eliminate the nth order harmonic, my first condition is pi by n. What is my second condition? This 3 by d by 2 can be equal to pi. 3d by 2 equal to pi. So can I write d is equal to 2 pi by 3? What is 3 over here is nothing but n, because this 3 what we have taken is n over here. So 2 pi by n. So another condition is d is equal to 2 pi by n. So either you can fix your gamma value, or you can fix your pulse width, whichever is you are feeling comfortable with. But I feel comfortable in fixing your pulse width, because if I change my pulse width, this number of pulses if changes, if I am using this number of pulses changes, so this gamma position also changes, right? So gamma is the position over here. If I take 3 pulses like this, so gamma which was over here of the second pulses, now gamma over here, it becomes over here. So if you go on increasing the number of pulses, gamma goes on changing. So I think I take a better method of changing the pulse width only. Okay, so take care of this. Whichever you want to change, you can do it. But this pulse width modulation is done to bring in these two advantages. Now there is a calculation for gamma also. Okay, so we had taken this first pulse over here. We know for the first pulse up to this portion is gamma. Right, so this portion of the gamma is told as theta 2, and this portion of the gamma is told as theta 1. Okay, so if I go into this figure, see, understand it very nicely. This gamma is the center point of this, right? So this portion, this small portion, what is the value? Is d by 2, and 2 is nothing but your number of pulses per half cycle. So if capital N is the number of pulses per half cycle, so it will be d by n. Okay, so this is nothing basically but your theta 2. Okay, so I'm going into this figure, just understand it now. This gap over here, if you are taking 2 pulses, will be d by 2. If you are taking 3 pulses, it will be 2d by 3 only, right? So it will be, please take care of that. So gamma is nothing but d by n. D by n. Next, you have to calculate your theta 1. How will you calculate your theta 1? If you go over here, this small gap is your theta 1. How many, these are equidistant way, I mean symmetrical place. So this gap is also theta 1. So this gap is also theta 1. So if there are 2 pulses over here, there are 3 theta 1s, right? Theta 1 plus theta 1 plus theta 1. So you are getting 3 theta 1. If you are taking 3 pulses like this, and over here it is pi, over here it is 0. So you will have 1, 2, 3, 4 pulses. So if there are 3 number of pulses per half cycle, then there will be 3 plus 1. Sorry, if there are 3 number of pulses per half cycle, yes, there will be 3 plus 1 number of symmetrical spaces between this half cycles. Okay, so that is the conclusion we should take and write the equation over here. So if there are n number of pulses, there should be n plus 1 theta 1. So n plus 1 theta 1. So number of pulses are n plus 1 theta 1. If I have taken this one pulses, it will end up to this. So this is pi. So if I minus this one, this is theta 1, this is theta 1, this is theta 1. If I do pi minus 3 theta 1, what I will get? This plus this, what is this length? D. What is this length? D. D plus D, 2D. So n plus 1 theta 1 is equal to pi minus 2D. So you can write theta 1 is equal to pi minus 2D by n plus 1. So what is gamma? Theta 1 plus theta 2 is equal to pi minus 2D by n plus 1 plus D by n. So this is how you can calculate your gamma. Please go through it. Meeting will end. Please join again. If you have doubt, you can tell me up to this. This calculation is important. Okay, so we can eliminate our harmonics and also we can eliminate our true false. Next, your RMS value. RMS value is again the same since the pulse width is 2D. Now, what important thing I want to tell you next is how you can generate your multiple pulses. So if there are 2 pulses, then it's okay, no problem. How you can generate multiple pulses? This multiple pulses generation is done by comparing a high frequency triangular wave with a square wave. Okay, this magnitude should be different. Obviously, you can see that wherever these 2 waveforms, one is called a carrier waveform, this triangle is called your carrier, this is your reference. So wherever this carrier and reference intersects, then only pulse is generated. Okay, you are getting output voltage. That means your switch is on. That means your pulse is generated. So please take care of this. If you take a magnitude of square wave same as your triangular wave, obviously there will be no cutting action. So there will be no pulse generated, hence output voltage will be 0. Now, why I'm telling that you should take a high frequency wave? If you take one triangle over here and one triangle over here, you will have one cutting portion. You will have one cutting portion, so you will have only one pulse over here, right? So you will have only one pulse over here, one pulse. So you will get again single pulse modulation. But we need to have multiple pulse per half cycle. So that's why we have to go for a very high frequency carrier signal, that is a triangular wave, and compare it with square wave. Okay. So this is what we had done. This is basically 2 waveforms that are generated. You know, you can give a ramp signal, integrate it and get a triangle wave, and you can do all these things and generate this. You can give a small DC waveform and fit this 2 into a comparator. That comparator will give this output. So that is not a problem because you have done all these things. And one thing very important is this formula. You just go through this formula. I'll just tell you how it is coming. I'll go through the form, tell you the formula and tell you how this is coming. So length of half cycle, number of pulses, number of hilltops per half cycle, or I'll say number of pulses per half cycle. What is that? Length of half cycle of square reference wave and width of one cycle of triangular wave. So length of half cycle of square wave. So half cycle of square wave is how much? Pi. And one cycle of square wave is obviously pi by 4, because you are seeing that number of cycles, how many are there? 4 under 1/2 cycle. If there was 5, then it will be pi by 5. So pi by 4, that gives me how much? 4. So how many pulses are there per half cycle? 4. So this is how you calculate your number of pulses per half cycle. If you want to increase your number of pulses per half cycle, increase the frequency of carrier wave, then only it will be, you will get 5, you will get 6, you will get 7. This is by increasing the frequency of the carrier wave. আচ্ছা,
স্যার
the
এখানে
most
কি আমরা
বলো বলো
স্যার
হ্যাঁ বলো।
হ্যাঁ এখানে কি আমরা ট্রায়াঙ্গুলার আর এই যে সাইন ওয়েভটাকে মানে স্কোয়ার ওয়েভটাকে যে একসাথে করছি কি পালসটা পাওয়ার জন্য, তাই তো?
হ্যাঁ, পালসটা পাওয়ার জন্য। এইখান থেকে যে গেট পালস গুলো পাবো, এখান থেকে গেট পালস এইরকম দেখতেই গেট পালস পাবো, ঠিক আছে? এইরকম দেখতে গেট পালস পাবো, এইভাবেই সুইচ গুলো অন হবে। এবার সুইচ গুলো অন হলে তাহলে এইভাবেই ভোল্টেজটা পাবো।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে।
আচ্ছা, এবার মোস্ট ইম্পর্টেন্ট থিং, দ্য মোস্ট ফলোড টেকনিক ইজ ফার্স্ট SPWM, sinusoidal pulse width modulation. Okay, it is the most followed technique over here. Over here, what is done over here? If you compare with multiple pulse width modulation, see its magnitude over here is same, right? Its magnitude over here is same. Pulse width also is same. See, all are having same pulse width. Okay, but in this case over here SPWM, the magnitudes are same, no problem, but pulse width is different. If you look at this, see the output, this pulse width is different, pulse width is different, pulse width is different. Okay, so over here it is same, we are getting multiple pulses in the output, but the pulse width is different. What we do over here, compared to this function, over here we are comparing a high frequency triangular carrier wave with a reference square wave, right? DC wave, square wave as well, symmetrical square wave. Over here what we are doing, we are taking a high frequency triangular wave only, that is a carrier signal, but see the name, sinusoidal pulse width modulation. So we'll use a sinusoidal reference wave of desired frequency. Okay, and same thing, wherever those sine and this triangle will intersect, will have these pulses. We'll go through this in the later slides. Now, intersection of the two waves gives your output voltage. There's a modulation index also calculated. You can calculate VR by VC, and if MI modulation index is greater than 1, lower harmonics is predominant, and if it is greater than if it is less than 1, higher order harmonics are predominant. So we'll go into how this sinusoidal PWM is applied. Now, as I was telling, Q1 and Q2 belongs to the same leg, Q3 and Q4 belongs to the same leg. So these two switches cannot be turned on at the same time, okay, because it will short circuit my source. So what I have to do, whenever this pulse is given to Q1, the not of the pulse, you know what is not? If I give a function 1, the output not will give you 0, the opposite to it, the opposite to the PWM A will be given to Q2. So that means Q1 and Q2 cannot be on at the same time. Similarly, if Q3 is given PWM B, then opposite of PWM B will be given to Q4, that is PWM B bar. Over here we should give PWM A bar. Now, in BJTs, you know all this we have discussed. In BJTs there is no internal diode, so there should be a diode placed over here. But generally in our last classes we had used switches, and so there was a diode placed across it. If it was a MOSFET, it has an internal body diode, so no need of this extra diode over here. So please take care of that. So since it is a BJT used, we have used over here external body diodes, external diodes, because we are using a RL load. You know what is the function of this diode also. Now, what we are doing, what is the main function over here? Now, in the output, we want the fundamental component of the voltage to be sinusoidal and 50 Hertz, because we know at the output we need AC waveform and its frequency should be 50 Hertz. Okay, so we have to take care that the output has a fundamental component of 50 hertz. Okay, so that if I filter out all the other harmonics component, 50 hertz always remain in the output. Okay, so that's why that is for that reason we have to modulate the switches Q1 to Q4. We have to modulate the switches accordingly so that we get a fundamental component of 50 hertz in the output. Now how it is done?
হ্যালো স্যার,
হ্যাঁ বলো বলো হ্যালো।
হ্যাঁ বলছি এখানে আমি বেশি নিতে কি পারবো না?
হ্যাঁ শুনতে পাচ্ছি না, আরেকবার বলো।
হ্যাঁ বলছি এখানে কি আমরা 50 হার্টজ পর্যন্তই নেব, মানে ওর বেশি নিতে পারবো না?
তোমার তো এই আউটপুটে এসি ওয়েভ ফর্ম 50 হার্টজ চাই, ওর জন্য এক্সাম্পল আমার বাড়ির সাপ্লাই আসছে 50 হার্টজ, সো দ্যাটস ওয়াই আই এম টেকিং দ্য এক্সাম্পল 50 হার্টজ। ওকে, বিকজ এসি আমরা জানি যে 50 হার্টজ দিয়ে আসে। You can take anything. I am thinking that it is this inverter is supplying at my home, so I need a 50 hertz supply. So that's why at the output my fundamental component should be 50 hertz. Yes. For that we have to modulate the switches Q1 to Q4. Okay. Now how this switches how this is done? Okay. So for this the primary thing is that this sine wave which is drawn over here. Okay, the reference signal should have a frequency 50 hertz. If you take the reference signal 100 hertz, that means your output waveform will have a fundamental component of 100 hertz only. So first criteria is that if you want 50 hertz as fundamental component, then you need 50 hertz to be the frequency of your reference waveform. Carrier waveform frequency is generally taken 20 times of that. It is a general practice to take 20 times of that. You can take more than that also, no problem. Okay, so 20 times of 50 hertz will give you 1 kilohertz. And besides, you know, BJT, MOSFETs, IGBT are high frequency devices, so 1 kilohertz is their normal operation, no problem. If it is goes in megahertz also, then also no problem. So 1 kilohertz can be chosen the waveform of a frequency of a triangular wave. We'll study this in our later slide. And then I have told you what we do. We feed this into a comparator. And what does comparator do? If this value is connected to positive, this is connected to negative. That means if sine wave is higher than this, then only it will generate a PWM. That is how these PWMs are generated. So next slide we'll discuss about this. So this is a circuit. This is a comparator where the two signals are faded over here. These two signals, the sine wave and the triangular wave, and this comparator that generates this PWM A, B, A bar, B bar. Tomorrow we'll discuss this VAB, how it is coming. Time is short for me. I'll just go quickly through this explanation. See over here, for this, okay, Q1 and Q2 will not be on at the same time, so a NOT gate. Q3 and Q4 will not be on at the same time, so a NOT gate. So how PWM A is generated? So when this one sinusoidal wave is greater, okay, when sinusoidal wave is one second. WM a sinusoidal wave is okay, correct. When okay, first what we have to do is to mark the intersection point, right? So from here I have marked the intersection point. See, wherever the this ash color sine wave and blue color triangular wave is meeting, I have drawn the intersection lines. Okay, so all intersection lines are drawn over here. Negative part intersection lines are drawn over here. Okay, so whenever sine wave is greater than this triangular wave, that means this small portion. So that is this small portion, right? This is greater than this blue line, so we are getting a pulse. Then this portion over here, this blue line is greater, then we are getting 0. Then again for this portion over here, up to this, what we are getting, this ash color line is greater than this, so we are getting a pulse over here. Like this, whole pulse is continued. I hope everybody is understanding. I'm not continuing all the pulses, but how I am drawing this, I'm telling you. PWM A bar, what will be? It will be not of this signal. So what is not of this signal? That means wherever it is high, it will be 0. See, it is 0. Wherever it is low, it will be high. So high over here. So low, then high, then low, then high. It goes on. Now PWMB. Now, if my load is connected, how it is connected? This is connected to this, goes through this ground. This is positive, this is negative. Okay. So, since this is positive with respect to this terminal negative, I'll compare this PWMA when generating PWMA. I'll compare I'll compare the sine wave, this color, positive half cycle, first half cycle positive, next half cycle negative. I'll compare this with a triangular wave. For generating your negative part, okay, since B is more negative to compared to A, we'll use another sine wave which is in opposite direction. Okay, so we'll compare this sine wave with this triangular wave. Now with this triangular wave, now during this small part, again what we'll do, we'll mark the intersection lines. Now these intersection lines are marked with yellow color. See, this marked with yellow color. So these are marked with this yellow color. So during this small portion, this red color line is greater than this blue color line because you are thinking it as negative. Obviously, the smaller the negative value is, that means it is magnitude is higher. So that's why this red color line is greater than this value. So PWMB has a pulse over here, then 0, then pulse over here, then goes on. And PWMB bar is mutually exclusive of this. So wherever you are getting 0, see, you are getting pulse over here. Wherever you are getting 0, you are getting pulse over here. So you are generating a pulse like this way by comparing a carrier triangular wave of high frequency with a sinusoidal reference wave of 50 Hertz, as we need a 50 Hertz fundamental waveform in my output. If you require a 100 Hertz fundamental waveform in the output, this sine wave which is drawn over here would have a frequency of 50 Hertz. That is the requirement. And always we take that this triangular frequency is 20 times that of the fundamental frequency. That is the practice we take. Tomorrow we'll discuss about how this VAB is generated, and we'll also discuss some points regarding this. Okay, and this was the last slide for today. We'll continue this discussion only tomorrow, next day. I'll somewhat explain this part again and then move into VAB.